Since the dawn of time, man has evolved. In our universe, there are infinite galaxies, ever expanding. We began our time on this planet as a small child, growing up under big trees and experiencing big places, bustling with busy bodies, beaches full of pedestrians sunbathing. We learned the power of peace and unity, equality and strength. Life moves fast. Sometimes we miss it in the blink of an eye. The days blend into another, and we call it life. The brilliant human mind has created some quintessential advances in technology. For better or worse, we have adopted this into our way of life, and over years have advanced further and further.
Since the dawn of time, man has evolved. There are 5 stages of human evolution, our most primitive form being Australopithecus, aka monkeys or banana eaters. Our monkey friends were followed by Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, and finally, Homo sapiens. Your mother, your father, and you. Now, moving into the 1980s, a new counterculture movement began to arise in the basements of said mothers and fathers. Now, this new feline fad continued to grow, and you might be confused as to the origins and purpose of this movement. So today, we're going in deep. Join me as we ask the age-old question that sits in the back of our minds. Dare we ask, what the fur?
Good morning. Today is Sunday, March 13th, and we are heading to Blue Ridge Fur Fest, which is the biggest furry convention in the southeast of the United States of America. Furries of all breeds, I think that's the politically correct term, flock here to Asheville, North Carolina, where today we will be meeting several furries, going to panels, and we have a couple interviews with them. So I've got my crew with me, Philip and Isaac in the back, Canum's behind the camera right now, and we're heading to Asheville. We're about 6 minutes away from Furry Fest, where we'll pick up our press passes and we'll get to it. So today should be an interesting day. There's a fan fiction writing panel. I think there might be, I know the closing ceremonies are tonight. Today's the last day of the festival, but very much looking forward to Blue Ridge Fur Fest at the beautiful Crown Plaza Hotel and Resort in Asheville, North Carolina. We'll see you soon.
The beginning of this movement is a rather disputed subject. While some argue it can be traced back to the 1910s and 20s, and many also attribute its beginnings to the underground explicit comics movement of the 70s, Fred Patton, who was a big influential figurehead of early science fiction and anime fandoms, said the term was coined in 1980 when a character sketch from Steve Gallacci's Albedo Anthropomorphics started the discussion on anthropomorphic characters in science fiction novels. This led to group discussions that met at science fiction and comic conventions moving forward. Now, what is this term, you may wonder? Well, for the first time in history, the word furries was spoken into existence.
Now you may ask yourself, what is a furry? Well, furries are members of the furry fandom of people who dress up as anthropomorphic animals and go to conventions and act out as their fursona of choice. These fursonas like to match their personality and complements them. Popular fursonas include wolves, rabbits, foxes, cats, and reindeer. You'll see some of these at the convention that we go to later. Furries like to meet up at conventions and also talk to each other through social media platforms such as Discord. Now, similar to a college mascot, these furry costumes often are full-body costumes with the head, full body, paws, and tail. But not all furries have a full-body costume. Now, some of these furry costumes can range relatively cheap in the hundreds of dollars region with just ears or maybe a tail. However, some that are more into it will spend upwards of $10,000 on their fursuits for the full body costumes. That's right. For the price of one fursuit, you could purchase a car for your family. Probably.
So a big part of furry culture is furries like to go to conventions where they'll all meet up for gatherings where they can talk about animal anthropomorphia and all other sorts of furry activities, such as dance competitions and panels where they talk about all sorts of their favorite activities to do, all whilst in fursuits. So today we're going to be going to Blue Ridge Fur Fest, which is the biggest fur festival or convention in the southeast region. Some big notable conventions are that of Anthrocon and Further Confusion. And this is the big one for the southeast, so that's where we're headed today. So it should be pretty interesting. So we'll keep you updated.
When I heard about Blue Ridge Fur Fest, I just had to go. So naturally, I reached out to Max, the head of community relations at BRFF, for potential press passes. And after answering a few questions they had, they were kind enough to grant me passes for myself and my crew, and even helped set up interviews at the convention.
So we're here in the zoo. We're 15 minutes away from Crimson, who's going to be doing an interview with us. This would be a really cool spot, and we're going to ask him some questions about how he got into the furry culture and his just views on the furry culture today.
In all honesty, going into my first furry convention, I had no idea what to expect. I did know that whatever happened, it was going to be unlike anything I'd ever seen before. We started exploring in the game room, where there was access to almost every video game console going back for decades. People were playing Nintendo Switch, Atari, virtual reality, and even card games. Most of the people weren't even wearing fursuits. The game room was always open, and so people were coming in and out all day. I tried out the Oculus Rift VR headset, which was pretty cool. Afterwards, we decided to check out the market area. Here, furries were selling all sorts of merchandise like accessories, artwork, and fursuit parts. There were even furry influencers with booths. It was getting close to being time for our first interview, so we headed to meet Crimson Legacy.
Hello everybody, I'm Crimson Legacy. I've been in this fandom for about 3-4 years now. I've been with the team that runs this convention and cast for about a year now, so.
We sat down with Crimson, who began to tell us his story and how he got into the fandom.
So it kind of starts back in my 20s. I'm 31 now, but back in my 20s, I grew up really with nothing. As far as socially, I didn't have any friends. One thing about the fandom theme that a lot of people here kind of seem to have together is we were not the popular kids. We were the kids in school that got bullied. We were the nerds. We weren't the jocks, the cool kids. We didn't like to do what everybody else liked to do. And one day I was just flipping through YouTube and I saw a furry dance competition video where it was just a bunch of people in costume dancing around. I was like, wow, they look like they're having fun. And so my curiosity piqued and I did my research and I kept looking more and more into it, and that's how I found the fandom. I think it was just that feeling of, wow, everybody seems to get along, everybody's chill with one another, there's no negativity, there's just positivity and love that they're spreading with one another. And I was like, wow, I want to do that.
Crimson told us about how the furry fandom was really just about being welcome, and we began to see the good things that all these furries were doing. For example, they had a silent auction full of furry memorabilia where you could purchase things and it all went to a charity.
My name is Haru. I am a Cabot.
I'm Rados. I'm a reindeer.
I am an anime freak. I also really enjoy Call of Duty.
It's been my Sona for about 8 years now, but fully fleshed out for only about 2.
I had a friend introduce it to me and, just random roleplay chat. And I don't know, it just kind of clicked. I was like, this seems like fun. And then, started looking things up on Google, finding fursuits, and I was like, I like this. This is it. I like this.
Just kind of browsing the internet when I was probably 13, 14. That's when I first saw anything about it. But I had Dungeons and Dragons. This character was just an anthropomorphic deer before I really knew anything about the furry fandom. And I got teased for it a little bit, and then I just kind of looked into it, and I just really liked it, so I just rolled with it.
This was a commission. Well, actually, this was only 2. This was 2K. It was very much on the cheaper side of commissions because I found my maker on TikTok of all random places. She was new. This was her first full suit, so I took a chance on her because I saw what she had done and I was like, you know what, I think you can do this. So she did wonderful. I spend most of my time working, and when I can, I just enjoy video games and talking with friends. I am a metal fabricator. I own my own business.
We entered the convention that day with no idea what to expect. But as the day moved forward and we went through many interviews, it became more apparent that the furry fandom was all about spreading positivity and joy.
Have you ever done something where someone has said, oh, that's not cool, or that's not, you gotta remember, we live in a very judgmental world and people have very bad first impressions. I would never dismiss somebody for having a bad first impression. If anything, I'd be like, well, you know what? Why don't you stay longer, and as you open up more and you start to see more, you might change your mind. And if anyone says it's weird, yeah, we're weird, but we embrace it. I think it takes more courage to embrace being weird and different than it is to be normal.
People of all backgrounds came to Blue Ridge Fur Fest for the same exact reason, and that was to meet people with similar interests as themselves. Sure, on the outside, it's a little different, but on the inside, it's really just about sharing love. You could really tell how much this fandom means to its members. Some of the furries in the dance contest had worked on their routines for an entire year leading up to the convention. That's what the convention really meant. It was just an opportunity to have fun with their friends. At one point during the day, I even participated in a improv game with some of the furries. And while, yes, there was some interesting moments, including when this guy grabbed the mic and just started breathing into it. But, it was fun. In conclusion, my experience with the furries was overwhelmingly more positive than I thought it was going to be. This fandom is really looked at from a downward angle. But on the inside, it's really just about positivity. There's nothing really negative that I could say about it. And so to answer the question, what the fur goes on there, well, just spreading joy, simply put.